Today is a very busy day. It is a very smoggy day. Cough, cough. Spent 2 hours fixing my Sony headphones. Already replaced the lithium-ion battery on it because it was puffed up like a cheese puff or a goldfish puff. Sony makes it very hard to fix their headphones. That is my complaint. They have a good product, but the batteries, if you use it a lot, of course, the batteries will go bad. Lithium batteries go bad when you use them a lot, and they puff up, and they can even explode. And replaced it, still wouldn't charge. Had to replace the charging port, although it was my fault. I tend to be rough with charging cords and stuff. It didn't help that the charging cord they had with it was about 6 inches long, and I'm charging it right now, which is why I'm just staring at the blank carrying case that is empty right now. I've got my capacitors all from DigiKey ready to go for my recapathon. I've got oodles and oodles of capacitors here. We've got all what I need to recap my CB radio, my CB tube Viking Messenger radio that I got last year that I haven't worked on yet. I've got the remaining caps, 2 caps I need for the Motorola to recap the pincushion board, and it'll be 100% recapped too, and join the ranks of the Zenith and Ford Philco of the fully recapped category. Now, we also got some capacitors, all of them I need for the RCA black and white set as well. You're probably wondering what in the heck this is doing over here, along with my socks. Well, this is part of the Zenith, and I had to take it off because it was filthy and I wanted to clean it. It was coated in tobacco tar, and high voltage in tobacco tar just generally does not bode well. So I cleaned that in the dishwasher. Yeah, I know. I'm weird like that. Well, a bit of a controversy. Some people thought, I guess, who were on video camera, they were like, you're going to throw away the flybacks. I'm like, no, I'm pretty frugal. You're talking to someone who keeps napkins from a Taco Bell visit. No, I keep the flybacks, and I end up restoring them. But either way, whether you clean them or have to put silicone, electrical-grade silicone on them to seal it up, you have to take them out and clip them and all of that, but the wires and whatnot. So if you have to take them out anyway, you might as well put the new ones in. I'm going to keep the old ones as backups for those TVs or other projects. They're not going to be thrown away. Rest assured, nothing is wasted around here. If anything, I actually tend to salvage random wire here and there from other stuff that's garbage, like old irons. So I also got some tubes, one of which I did need, but it was in a lot. It was actually cheaper to buy the bulk lot, only marginally more expensive, rather. I needed the one, not this one. Is it this one? Yeah, 1B3 GT. They were sold as new old stock, but I don't think they were, but whatever. They were really cheap. 1B3 GT is the high voltage rectifier tube I needed for the RCA black and white set, because that other tube was dead as a doornail. No activity at all. And that's probably why it was put out of service. You know, by the time it failed, it was probably the 60s. Free love, but not free tubes, I guess, right? Well, you know, this is a high voltage rectifier tube, and they tend to be, it's not unusual for them to fail. Although there are things that can cause premature death. This is a very weird way to package it. It's like a waffle cone. Come on, get out of there. Come on. Yeah, I don't think this is new old stock, but I'm sure it's fine. I'm going to test these tubes. It is a Zenith. Well, okay, I got a Zenith tube instead of an RCA. Whatever. It is definitely used, though. I'm just... Whatever, though. Though this is an old style one. These older bases were more common for the black and white and old radio sets, black and white TVs and whatnot. Sorry for all the motion. Now, the other tubes I got were mostly things I don't need. I think one of them is a horizontal output tube for the RCA as well. Now, this one, actually, the Zenith uses for a high voltage regulator. Or a voltage regulator. I think it's just a voltage regulator tube. So that's useful if I need that. I think a lot of these are old beam power tubes, like 6CD6, 6B, you know. They tend to be a little bit less expensive than the other ones, like 6KD6s or 6LF6s. For some reason, the older black and white set horizontal output tubes tended to not get used as much because they have lower current ratings and voltage ratings in the color horizontal output tubes. So they tended to not be as used up, and they are cheaper, which makes it a little bit more convenient. Now, if you're really ever desperate, there are different ways to get horizontal output tubes for cheap. And this is a really weird one, Compactron. Yeah, I got a lot of weird ones today, but I needed that one particular tube that you see before my knockoff croc foot. Ow. 31JS6C. This is an interesting one. So 6JS6C is the horizontal output for the Zenith. Now, the only difference with this one is this is a 31 volt instead of 6 volts, hence the number 31. That first number means the voltage, filament voltage generally. Now, this is also a horizontal output tube. I haven't seen any using these higher voltage types, though, but I'm sure they exist. Now, the thing with these is you obviously need to modify. You'll need a 31 volt transformer output to wire this up dedicated, and you also need a I don't think this is new old stock either. This might be baked. We'll find out. It's a GE Compactron. It's definitely beefy looking, little. And I think the current's a little bit different, so I'll have to do a bit of research on improvisation. But, you know, hey, from what I understand, though, 6P45S, these old Soviet beam power tubes were usable on a lot of color tube TVs in the US with modifications, like a tube socket adapter and whatnot. So if you're creative enough, you can kind of get around. Here's another tube, 22KM6. It is not a realistic, though. It is actually Long Life. Now, that's a joke. Realistic was a brand for Radio Shack. I do have one. Yeah, they're a little bit of a weird story. From what I understand with Radio Shacks that sold realistic tubes, because that was their brand back in the day, if it burnt out or went bad, you could get a replacement. It had a lifetime warranty for the original tube. So in theory, you can take a realistic tube to a Radio Shack and get a new old stock or a replacement. I don't think they'd be very happy. I think I would annoy my Radio Shack friend if I did that. Like, hey, no, this isn't even a realistic. This is a GE. Someone just took whatever boxes they could find here. 22KM6. Very oddball type tube. I think all of these are kind of weird, but the box is kind of cool. I haven't seen a realistic box. Oh yeah, here's the warranty. So what's the truth here? Against defects for 90 days. Well, that's past that. From Radio Shack. Simply bring... Oh. Yeah. Well, like I said, I find that interesting. 90 days. So the truth is, it's 90 days. Maybe there used to be like another warranty or something. I don't really know a whole lot about this, but I heard about the rumor that supposedly there was a lifetime warranty, but this is limited. Custom packaged. Well, anywho, I'm going to be trying to get the Ford Philco ready to go. I have a lingering question, though, regarding the flyback. The two wires that go from the flyback up from the 3-coil winding to the socket, does that have polarity? I really hope that's not a dumb question, but I want to make sure before I wire it up, because I really don't want sparks flying everywhere. I know what pins they're supposed to go to, but does it matter which they go to which? Or because it's just like a loop of wire. I'm not really sure if it actually is it, or is it more like an inductor situation? I don't know. Just random rambling and thoughts because I'm a little tired. I've been really on a roll though, so we're moving and we're grooving, and soon we're going to have a lot of tube TVs to adjust and do convergence on and stuff. That'll be fun, won't it? Well, if anyone has any requests or any questions, or if they have any troubleshooting themselves they need help with, send me a message.